Hi there, it's Lezli. Thanks for joining us for our On the Yard edition of Impolite Conversation, where we explore race, culture, and societal issues through the lens of HBCU students. On the Yard happens every Friday.
So happy would-be homecoming season, everybody. I'm today's co-host, Zuri. This is our last of 3 episodes that are inspired by homecoming. And what is homecoming without coronation and campus queens? Today, we're going to talk about the significance of pageant culture at HBCUs. We're really excited to explore this with 2 HBCU campus queens. So I'll let the 2 of you introduce yourselves.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Kayla Alexandria Tanner. I am a senior urban studies and public policy major, criminal justice minor from Los Angeles, California, and I serve as the 85th Miss Dillard University. Thank you for having me.
Hello, everyone. I am Kennedy Elise Baptiste, a majoring in criminal justice from Wattell, Louisiana, and I serve at the 90th Miss Southern University in Agricultural and Mechanical College. Thank y'all for having me also.
So today we are speaking with Miss Dillard University and Miss Southern University A&M College. But for the uninitiated, they are essentially the pinnacle when looking at the hierarchy of pageant life at an HBCU. But queens at every stage of the college experience exist. So I'm not sure about the specific culture of Dillard and Southern University A&M, but at Morehouse, all of the freshman dorms have queens. Many of the clubs and organizations at Morehouse also have queens. The fraternities also have queens. Then they have the Miss RHA queen, like all of the different types of pageants. So I'm specifically referencing Morehouse because at Spelman, we celebrate homecoming together. And the Morehouse queens, for the most part, are Spelmanites. Also Clarkettes. I don't want to leave them out as well, but they're usually Spelmanites. The last 3, Miss Maroon and White, have been Spelman queens.
Miss Maroon and White is Miss Morehouse.
Yes, but we just don't call her that. Yeah.
Okay, so I have a quick question. So Miss Spelman will always be Miss
Spelmanite.
Maroon and...
Okay, wait. I can run you through it. So Miss Spelman is Spelman's version of their queen. So their queen, which can only be a Spelmanite. However, there's also Miss Maroon and White, which is Morehouse's campus queen. So both Spelmanites and Clark women can run to be Miss Maroon and White. So because the person is not someone who attends Morehouse, I'm assuming that's why they call her Miss Maroon and White and not Miss Morehouse.
Sorry, so many non sequiturs here, but I'm curious. I went to Spelman too. Miss Maroon and White was always from Spelman. Since you have been there, has Miss Maroon and White always been from Spelman, or have there been people from Clark?
She's always been a Spelmanite while I've been there. There have definitely been Clark girls in the past on the court, but since I've been attending Spelman, she has been a Spelmanite.
Okay.
To both Kennedy and Kaylin, what would you say is pretty much the same at your schools when it comes to pageant campus culture?
Is it pretty much the same, like the freshman dorms and I'm sure the fraternities? No?
So
we also have class queens as well.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. So we have Miss Dillard University, which is me. And then we also have our class kings and queens. And I didn't even realize that a lot of HBCUs don't have kings. So that's one thing that I actually learned. So we do have a king and we do have class kings and queens. A lot of our women-led organizations on campus, we have like Sister to Sister or Women's Empowerment Organization. We also have Skirts, which is Sisters Keeping It Real Through Service. And then we also have Curvy Girls. So those women-led organizations, they have their own pageants and they become Miss Skirts, Miss Sister to Sisters, Miss Curvy Girls. So that's something that we have on Dillard's campus. And then we also have, of course, Miss PAC for the Pre-Alumni Council. And we have Miss like RHA, but we don't really have like a Mr. Straight Hall and a Miss Camphor Dormitory. So we don't have those different dorm kings and queens on campus.
Like you said, of course, we have Miss Southern University. Then we have all the class queens, which is Miss Freshman, Miss Sophomore, Miss Junior, Miss Senior. We do have the fraternity. So we have Miss Omega, Miss Black and Gold, which is the Alphas, Miss Crimson and Cream, which is the Kappas. We never had a
Sigma Queen.
Yeah, we don't have that. We don't have a Sigma Queen. I think maybe because we don't really have that many Sigmas on campus right now, so I'm not sure. But we do have the dormitories. We have all residential life. So Miss Toddy Hall, Miss Shade. The residential life that we have, they all have a queen. We have a Miss Business of College. We have a Miss ROTC. And I really want to say that's it. We also don't have any misters.
Even though that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we don't have. We also have Miss Thicker Than a Snicker. So that's for like the thicker girls.
Okay.
We have, that's like one of the most.
I love
that's
it.
like one of the most famous.
Wait,
That's
what is it?
I need you to elaborate on what that is.
It's
Miss Thicker
Miss Thicker Than a Snicker pageant.
Okay.
So basically,
I'm
that is
already
like,
You might
there.
have to name
I am
this
there.
episode that. You might have
no,
to-
yeah, that is our that is Southern's latest pageant. Like everybody loves the Miss Thicker Than a Snicker pageant. That's our
Yes.
favorite pageant. Like everybody comes out to that, and
That sounds like
it's
people
really a
pop
good time.
out.
No, it
They
is.
get ready.
Definitely.
Okay, I just remember a little bit more. We have Miss Men's Federation. It's only certain organizations that choose to have a Miss or a Mister. Like we have our Miss Freshman has to host a Mr. Freshman pageant, but he's not an actual person on court. That's just to have as the class. She'll host a Mr. Freshman pageant in the springtime to have their Mr. Freshman as the class in general. Like I said, we have a Miss Men's Fed because we have Men's Federation. Sometimes we've had a Mr. AWS. So AWS is the Women's Association Society, but they didn't have one of those this year. Like I'm in a sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. So last year we had our first Mr. Ivy League, but we didn't do it this year due to Corona. Delta Sigma Theta also sometimes has a Mr. Crimson and Cream.
Yeah, they had one last academic school year.
Yeah, they had one last year. We didn't have one this year due to Corona also again. So that I really want to say that's all the campus pageant
Yeah,
life.
You can definitely tell that pageant culture is a part of Southern culture. So during homecoming is when all of the queens get crowned at what is called a coronation. And it's supposed to culminate with the queen of the school overall just getting crowned. There's usually a black tie ball that takes place as well. You guys don't just wake up and one day decide you're going to be your school's queen. Prior to becoming Miss Dillard University and becoming Miss Southern University A&M College, were either of you queens of anything else?
Yes, so I was Miss Black and Gold for Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. And I believe I was Miss Black and Gold my sophomore year. To like kind of backtrack, I actually ran to be Miss Freshman and lost terribly and lost. So I was like, you know what? It's okay. I'm going to go do my own thing, you know? And then I started to become a student leader on campus, became very involved in the activities board, which was great. And then my sophomore year, I'm like, okay, well, I kind of want to run. I want to run for like, you know, some like campus queen, you know, I don't know, something. So I ended up running for Miss Black and Gold, and my boyfriend at the time was a part of the chapter. So it was like really cute for me to be Miss Black and Gold and him to be part of the chapter. And my junior year, I was like, I'm going to get back into my activities boards position. I ended up becoming the founder of the leadership involvement team here at Dillard University because that's where my heart is. I love being involved on campus. I love engaging the community. And then my friends were like, hey, Kayla, why not run for Miss Dillard? I'm like, well, I mean, I'm not really like a girly girl, glitz and glamour type of woman. I'm more of like, I'm very opinionated. Like, I'm very strong on my beliefs.
And who's to say that that's not girly girl?
Exactly. So that was me. And I'm like, I'm really strong on my beliefs. I'm not going to just sit there and be the pretty face. They're telling me, well, be different. Everyone thinks of Miss Dillard as just being this model, right? Like just having this cute face, great GPA, and then she goes to law school right after, right? Be something else, be different. And so I ran my campaign off of being more than a woman, right? I'm more than my figure, my face. I'm an athlete as well. I'm an activist in my community. So I made sure that I reached out to everybody on campus, all the different type of like cliques and groups and organizations. And I was able to say, I'm a well-rounded candidate and this is something new, but I think you guys are going to like what I'm bringing to the table. And of course they did because I'm here now.
Right.
I have never been campus royalty. My freshman year, I got in the Miss Omega pageant, didn't win. Sophomore year, I did Miss Black and Gold. I got first runner-up. No, I've just always been involved student. I've been a student leader. I'm involved in, like I said, my sorority, dance team, SGA before I was Miss Southern. I was in the Senate. So I was just always involved, but I've never been a queen.
You said that you were on the dance team. Are you talking about the dance team like with the band?
No, the basketball dance team, the Golden Blues.
Okay.
Ooh.
And then I'm curious. So did you have to do like a talent?
Yeah, normally during election week, the Wednesday is always pageant day. So you have to do talent, swimsuit, and formal wear. But because,
Wait, they make you do swimsuit?
Yeah. But Corona,
Wow.
we didn't have a pageant this year due to Corona, so I wasn't able to do any of those things.
I'm glad.
But that's what normally
I'm glad
happens.
you didn't have to do a swimsuit competition.
Well, I mean, it's just like the pageant day, and it's all the queens. It's everybody that's running. Every queen that's running for each position.
And I'm trying not to be like, whatever. But I do feel some type of way about that. I don't want to get into that. Like, that's a separate conversation. Just because if there is a male pageant, they don't make them wear a swimsuit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Over here they do.
Oh, okay. Well, then that makes it fair. Then I'm fine with it then. As long as they're like making the women do the same thing that they're making the men do.
When they have the male pageants, like I said, for like the women's sororities, and we have the pageant, they have to do swimwear. And like Mr. Freshman, they have to do swimwear.
I'm here for the equality.
So that was really great to hear both of your pageant resumes. Very cool. You guys sort of broke it down, what your positions were, but what was your overall pathway to becoming a campus queen? What do you feel like made you competitive for this, aside from your talent, whatever that was? Was it being Greek? Was it being maybe a member of SGA? And also, was it a panel of judges that selects you, or was it overall based on student votes, a mixture of both?
So at Dillard, it's a very small school and we're very family oriented. Dillard has about 1,300 students in total. So it's really about being relatable. They do not care if you're a Greek. They do not care if you're the prettiest person on the block. They don't care about any of that. It's about, okay, what are you going to do once you get into this position? Or what have you done already? Since my freshman year, like I said, I have been super involved. And it's not because I wanted to be Miss Dillard, it's because I love being involved. Like, that's what I wanted to do. That's why I came to Dillard University, not to just be, a student on my computer 24/7, but also engaging and networking with my peers and my professors. So people knew me as being very relatable. Like I stated, I ran my campaign on being more than a woman. So I was able to appeal to the athletes because they saw me at practice, sweating, wearing sweats. I wasn't wearing heels all over campus. I was also in the modeling clubs. People saw that, okay, she could take off those sweats and put on, a nice dress with some heels and, carry herself correctly, right? Whatever correctly means. And so just being able to, like I said, be relatable and let it be known that, it's not all about the words, it's about the action. So that's literally what I had to do. I had to prove my leadership experience. I have to prove that I'm doing this for the right reason.
What about you, Kennedy? What was your pathway?
I can definitely relate to a lot of things that Caitlin said, like with the being relatable and all that. But honestly, here at Southern, I can't get into like detail on a lot of stuff. But honestly, I don't feel like being Greek had anything to do with me winning. Like Caitlin said, her freshman year, she'd always want to get involved. That was me my freshman year. Like, I'm an outgoing person. I talk to any and everybody. I want to be in clubs. I just always want to get involved. So I feel like for me, Golden Blues, I made the dance team my freshman year. I feel like it put my name out there. Here at Southern, it's kind of about who's more known. And honestly, winning Miss Southern, this was a God gave this position to me without a doubt. I don't feel like being Greek. So I got that question a lot.
Because you had mentioned that you were Greek, right? And I think that every campus has its own culture. Kaylin was saying, like, literally nobody cares about that. You know what I mean? Like,
anymore. No one cares about it anymore. We definitely changed that culture. Because people used to be like, I'm going to vote for her because she's an AK and I want to be AK.
What I was going to ask you is it a panel of judges or is it the student body that's selecting you?
It's strictly the student body here at Southern. It's the student votes.
Okay, so that's super different. For us, it's half and half. Well, so 50% the student vote, but then also we don't want it to be a popularity contest at that. And we want to make sure that you are going to represent the school accordingly. So you have a pageant score, you have your panel of judges, and I believe that's 20%. And then your interview process is going to be 30%. So that's where you get that 50-50 from. We just recently started doing that, I believe, 3 to 4 years ago, because we saw how being the popular person wasn't always the best suitable person to represent the university.
I know for a fact, well, at least when I was in school, which was like 20 years ago. I don't know that this has changed, but like for Miss Maroon and White, it's a portion. I don't know what the percentages are, but it's a portion of the student body. At least that's when I was in school. I don't know. Zuri could probably speak more to that. And then Miss Spellman is the same, right?
So I would say it's majority student vote for Miss Spellman, but the panel of judges, I'm actually not sure how much that weighs in. I'm not sure if it's like an equal percentage or if it's like 60-40 type situation.
You mentioned people wanted to know, like, what are you going to do? What is the expectation of what you will do as a campus queen?
I can't speak for all, colleges and universities, but for Dillard, it's not just being the queen of, like, let's say, doing community service, right? People always think, oh, you're Miss Dillard, you're going to make sure I have enough community service hours to graduate, right? Okay, that's not my only job here. I not only represent the students, I represent the university as well. So it's making sure that we provide the students with health and wellness through our health and wellness initiative, right? Advocacy as well. So we work hand in hand with SGA on a lot of our advocacy initiatives. Also mentorship, right? And empowerment. So going back into the community and mentoring the middle school and high schoolers and letting them know what it is to be at an HBCU, how proud you should be at an HBCU, right? Because we don't get a lot of students, a lot of schools don't bring in HBCU queens and kings or anybody or even advisors to talk about, what are your options? What are the resources you have when going to a HBCU? So we're there as like the campus ambassadors. So like Dillard University ambassador, not only on campus, but then also off campus.
My initiatives kind of goes hand in hand with what Kayla said, but mine is basically giving back to the students and making sure the students have everything that accommodates them. Like over here right now, like with Corona and everything, our bridge is broken down. So like students have to take a whole different way to get on campus. It's just we have a lot going on over here right now, but we work hand in hand with SGA. We work together to do for the students, make sure that, they can get back here on the back of campus in a safe way, in a safe manner. We also have a bus that picks up the students and takes them to the Capitol to go voting. We also have Southern Lab, which is a high school right on the campus, to do a mentorship program with them, with the young ladies in the springtime. But as of right now, my Miss Seniors actually has a mentorship program just for the girls over here at Southern to mentor with any senior of their major. Basically, my initiative is just, like I said, give back to the students and just make sure that everything that they need is accommodated for.
So as we're talking about how we approach this episode, we definitely want to speak to queens that are representing HBCUs in the Deep South, because we all know that pageants are an integral part of HBCUs. But in general, just I think pageantry and pageants seem like they are just a big part of the culture of the Deep South. There was a 2015 Washington Post article that had a map of the states that have produced the most Miss Americas. They said 19 states have never won a Miss America competition ever, and they include like the Northern Plains states like the Dakotas and Montana, as well as every New England state. The time that this article was written, one Miss America from New England. She was from Connecticut. That was in 1933. Some of the winningest states, which you can tell by population, are New York and California. They've produced 6 each. Pennsylvania, Illinois, 5, because they're saying that theoretically their odds of winning are really high because they have large populations to draw from. And then, larger states tend to have more competitive state level competitions. So their odds of producing a contestant with the skills that are going to be able to be competitive on a national level are a lot greater. But then they said, if you get to a state like Oklahoma, which has like a tenth of the population of California, they've produced just as many winners. And then southern states like Alabama and Mississippi are also overrepresented in win totals. I'm curious for you, Kennedy, you grew up in Louisiana. Did you grow up participating in activities, or just were you a part of a culture that sort of groomed you to be competitive for being in a pageant?
In a way, yes, because where I'm from, when I was younger, I was in the pageant for the Alpha Chapter in Opelousas. But honestly, I never was the type, but I did that one pageant, that was it. I wasn't really
How old were you?
I was a girly, 10. Like, I was a girly.
I'm thinking that you were going to be like in high school. So you were like, so you were like in the 5th grade. That is so cute, doing this little pageant.
Yeah,
so,
like that was it.
I mean,
okay. Really,
so just so you're clear,
girl.
Yeah, but just so you're clear, that is definitely a Southern thing, participating in a pageant at 10 years old.
Oh yeah,
yes.
Definitely.
We're all on the same page.
I agree, but I know personally for me, I think I've just learned to be competitive. I was a dancer throughout all my years of life. So I never worried about being in the pageant. Like I said, high school, I didn't run for homecoming court. I didn't do none of those things in high school. I was so stuck on dancing. I was like, dance is my life. All I want to do is dance. So when I got here and I finally got the coach because I've always been living in Louisiana, and Southern University is like an hour away from my home. So we always came for the games and stuff like that. But once I got here, and my queen was Miss Felice Thompson Doyle, and once I met her, like I would always put it in my head like, oh yeah, I want to be Miss Southern. I want to be Miss Southern. But I think I got serious about it like my junior year towards the end of my sophomore year.
That's an awesome story, by the way. Your first pageant was at 10 years old. Kaylin, I know you didn't grow up in the South, but you're obviously Miss Dillard. You grew up in LA. Did you do any pageants when you were growing up at all?
No, my mom put me in like dance, ballet, tap. My dad put me in soccer, tennis, volleyball. So it was always sports, like how to get you involved, right? I'm on the track team now, but I did track in high school. It was never really pageant. I did like modeling here and there. It was a big culture shock moving here to see how competitive people are with pageants. Like, who has the most money? Who can get the biggest sign? Like, I'm like, Mom, I only have $250 to my name. Well, I don't know how I'm going to run for Miss Dillard, because even though we're a small school, you got to do it big. You got to be extra, have a big banner, like the size of the wall. And I'm like, why is it about who has the most money? Like, we're all broke college students. My people aren't packing out there in California. Like, what's going on? But it's so competitive, and I appreciate what y'all do, but I don't know. I don't know how. I could never. I can
definitely relate to Kaylin when she's like, here at Southern, like she said, they go all out.
Well,
like,
I saw your video, Kennedy, with the Disney.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
yeah, Disney.
Like, okay, we are not playing around.
I mean, I feel like for one, like if it wasn't for Corona this past year, this probably would have been one of the biggest campaign seasons, because I mean, all of my opponents, everybody's stuff was great. And like I said, I ran against all past class queens. Like Kaylin said, they do it big every day. During a normal campaign season, besides Corona, like people would have events every day outside. We're bringing food, bringing candy, we're bringing crawfish. We're having flyers posted all over the campus. Like, it's something big every day. The pageant is always on a Wednesday. So Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday is when you like, well, it's all days. Well, we also have Pretty Wednesday. So like I said, on Pretty Wednesday, like people would come out and bring crawfish. One year, a girl who ran for Miss Southern, she brought out a whole farm. She had pigs and roosters and everything outside in the Union. Like, we literally do it big out here.
That is amazing. I'm curious. Times definitely change. I do not feel like the campaigning was so opulent and excessive and over the top. Zuri, would you say the campaigning is like that for Miss Spellman and Miss Maruna White?
So I definitely would say that they take over and they try to do as much as they can. Not as big as Kennedy was just describing in terms of the going all out and having a farm. But when it comes to Miss Spellman, I definitely think that because the pageant comes from the trustees down and it's supposed to be somebody who's representing Spelman College, the way that they have to go about it is very particular. Like, you're definitely allowed to be creative in your own way. Like, everybody has a color and they can sort of do what they want with that color in terms of campaigning and putting together their whole platform and all of those things. But it is definitely more reined in terms of what campaigning would look like. And then between Morehouse, I think people are definitely allowed a little bit more creative freedom in terms of what they want to do throughout their campaign and how they're sort of presenting that to the college. I'm curious for both of you. I'm sure both of you have friends that attend PWIs, specifically in the South. Do they have pageants? Do they have queens? Are they celebrated at homecoming or at any other point throughout the year? The majority of my friends that attend PWIs attend in the Northeast. So pageant culture is not really super popular throughout just like organizations. It's very confined to maybe one or two things like the white Greek life on their campus.
I actually don't have any friends that go to PWIs down south. Most of them are back at home in California. So Kennedy, you may know more than I about that.
We're near LSU. So LSU is our nearest PWI. They don't have a Miss LSU. They have a homecoming queen. I think their sororities and fraternities also do have the Miss and Misters of their sorority and fraternities, because I have seen it.
The white fraternities and sororities have queens, you're saying?
I'm not sure. I know
you're saying the black ones at LSU.
At the PWI, yeah. That's really all I know.
So in the first episode in our series, we talked about the cultural memory in the African American community and how Black Americans have created a safe space for themselves due to segregation. We spoke with two HBCU students about legacy in these spaces. One is a third generation to summer in the Oak Bluffs section of Martha's Vineyard, which is the home of the Inkwell Beach. And the other is from Atlanta, and her family has been attending Spelman since the 1890s. She is directly the fourth generation to attend, but she cannot count how many people in her family because there have been so many. Being a part and maintaining that legacy is so important in their respective aspects. The historically Black colleges and universities feel like these sacred spaces that were made just for you. I think that even if you aren't a fourth generation HBCU student, you can feel as the first person in your family to attend an HBCU that you still have this deep sense of legacy when you're stepping foot on campus that was created for you, where Black excellence is cultivated and celebrated in so many ways. I also think that campus queens and campus royalty are such a distinct part of HBCU culture because it's almost like a physical embodiment of celebrating Black excellence and the physical embodiment of celebrating this long and rich legacy. So what are your thoughts on why royalty culture is such a significant component of the HBCU experience?
I'm the first person in my family to go to Dillard University. And I completely agree with you, Zuri, when you say that when you step foot on campus, whether you are fourth generation, whether you are like your first generation student, you feel the rich culture. You are like, how can I make sure that I make an impact on this campus, right? Like, this is your legacy now. When it comes to the royalty aspect of it, it's so unique and like rich. Because especially in New Orleans, Louisiana, right? Like, Louisiana has such a rich history, but New Orleans, it's different to be an HBCU queen in New Orleans. When you step foot on campus, you're not even thinking about royalty, right? You're thinking of, I'm already a queen. Like, I'm a Black queen. I'm stepping foot on this campus. Like, wow, right? You're not thinking, oh, I need to win Miss Dillard University. I need to win Miss Freshman, right? And so when it came to my junior year, and I'm like, okay, how can I really leave my legacy, right? I've done so much on campus. I've done so much in my community, but what more can I do? I knew I wanted to leave my legacy as being a girl from California, right? Nowhere near the South, coming down South and being able to say, hey, like, mama, I made it. Like, I did it. I did everything I wanted to do and even more than I could dream of. So now for me, leaving my legacy at Dillard University, my sister's excited. Like, my sisters are like, we're going to Dillard because now we're Dillard royalty. And I'm like, baby, you were already royalty when I stepped foot on that campus, because now it's generation after generation. Like, let's keep it going, right? It's just super amazing to see how my family has supported me. And even like me, I'm the oldest cousin as well. So all my little cousins and my siblings, they're just super excited. And they're like, I never even knew colleges had queens. And I'm like, HBCUs, that's why. Yes, we are Black kings and queens. Yes. So they're just super excited to come to an HBCU now. And my little sister, she's 9 years old, and she's already like, oh yeah, I want to go to HBCU. It is a great experience being a campus queen, but then also knowing like, I'm going to a HBCU. There's so much history here, and now it's my turn to make a way for others, which is super important for me.
Kayla, oh my gosh, you almost kind of made me cry.
I know.
What?
I was thinking the same thing.
Yes.
Because it's like that cultural imprint that you put on your little cousin is just, I was kind of like,
beautiful.
Misty. Listen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm the oldest of 6. I didn't come here thinking, oh yeah, I want to be Miss Southern. No, I knew from jump I was always going to go to HBCU. My family wasn't going to let me go anywhere else than HBCU either. My mom came to Southern University.
Okay.
And multiple family members. I think royalty here is just, we hold ourselves to a higher standard, but the school in general and every HBCU holds us to a higher standard. It's not even like, oh, she's not just Kennedy anymore. She's not just Kayla anymore. She's Miss Southern. She's Miss Dillard. And they look at everything you do, the way you walk, the way you talk, the way you breathe. and it's sometimes I'm not lying, it's a lot of pressure. I know for me, like you said, like family wise, I have 2 younger sisters. One of them is in dance. One of them plays sports basketball. But I know for sure, like my younger little sister, the one in dance, she wants to be AKA now because of me. She wants to dance because of me. She wants, and in my head, I'm thinking she probably wants to be a queen now too. It's an inspiration thing for me, and I want to be able to leave with my family and especially my siblings. Like, you can go out and do whatever you want at school. We're from a small town, Lawtell. I was a country girl. I stayed to myself. And they're just like, who would have known? Kennedy from little old Lawtell, you became the Miss Southern University. So I just think for me, it's just making my family proud, making my siblings proud, and leaving a legacy here. I always encourage everybody to go to HBCU. Like I was just in Alabama State this past weekend, and Yasmin has a little sister, and she was like trying to debate whether she wants to go to Southern or ULM, and I think another school. And we were all like, girl, if you don't come to Southern, like go to an HBCU. Like I feel like at HBCU, everybody is here for you. Like we're a big family. We're literally a population and people here for you to support you and uplift you in any and every way possible.
I would like to echo that a little bit. Like I said, I'm from Los Angeles, and the culture out there is you're always competing with somebody, which is so annoying. Who has the longest nails? Who has the longest weave? Is it 30 inches? Is it 50 inches? Whatever, right? Who can get the hottest guy, right? Or like if she's on the cheerleading squad, she needs to be with the basketball player. Maybe that's just from my high school or whatever. That was my experience. Coming to New Orleans, you're around so many Black people that have the same goal, right? If there's an opportunity, they're going to make sure that 5 other Black people have that opportunity as well, right? So they're not stingy. It's not us trying to compete against one another. Like, we're all super smart. We're not the token Black person anymore. So what can we do to like evolve, right? What can we do so we can all get the wealth of knowledge? And I really appreciate that, you know, coming from Los Angeles. I really do.
So I want to say congratulations to both of you again. Kennedy, I know that your coronation is coming up, so I'm sure you're very excited about that. This was a great conversation, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us. So our final question that we ask all of our guests, as you know, the podcast is created by the Iconoclast Dinner Experience. It's your last night on Earth. Where are you eating?
Y'all, that's a hard question because I like to eat.
Oh, yes, baby. I'm glad I don't gain weight because
I don't know where I would eat, but whatever I'm eating has to be seafood. So as long as there's shrimp and crawfish and potatoes,
okay,
boiled potatoes with a lot of seasoning. Yeah, now where at? I'm not sure. I mean, I wouldn't mind being in my house eating that, to be honest. So
How is it on your plate? Describe it for me.
Okay, I'm definitely going to have a lot of shrimp because I just love shrimp. So shrimp, maybe some crawfish etouffee. Yeah, definitely crawfish etouffee. Maybe some smothered potatoes. Yeah, corn.
Who is cooking that? Are you getting that from a restaurant or is that a family member?
I think I'd rather probably get it from my grandmother because her food is always the best. My grandma and my auntie, both of them.
My last meal would have to be, let's see, what will be on my plate? It's going to be buffalo wings, all flats, fried hard. All flats, fried hard, yes. Buffalo wings with some lemon pepper seasoning. I have to have some well-done fries. Like the fries have to be crispy, not soggy. Crispy fries. I have to have some crawfish in the middle of my plate. I love the spicy seasoning. I'm sorry, I'm so hungry.
No, good. I love hearing all of it. I like to get detail. I like to get detail.
Yes, tell us everything that's happening. Set the scene.
I love anything with any type of potato, right? I need to have some scallops on there, and then I need to have oysters. I have to have oysters and lobster tail. I'm going to put it all together. So I'm going to get my chicken from a place called Chicken and Watermelon. And then I'm going to go ahead and get the seafood from Neo's. And I know it's a super famous place in New Orleans. Oh, it is amazing. But yes, I'm spending it in New Orleans. I love New Orleans that much.
Thank you for listening to Impolite Conversation, the podcast, curated by the Iconoclast Dinner Experience. You can follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Icon Dinner and on the Iconoclast Dinner Experience Facebook page. Let us know what you thought about this episode. Hit us on socials or send us feedback at press@iconoclastdinner.com. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our podcast, and we'd also love it if you rated and reviewed us.